Let's talk about Metal Gear Solid. From the incredible mind of filmmaker turned video game designer Hideo Kojima, these games have been crowned as not just some of the best stealth games ever made, but some of the best games ever made, period. With stories we could spend days analyzing or gushing over, intricate and immaculately detailed level designs, and controls so unique we can't tell if they're inspired or insane, our time with the Metal Gear Solid games has been unforgettable.
We are a master of stealth! Wait, what? What? No!
Oh shit, we just beat this shit out of Meryl!
I have stopped bleeding shit. I'm just gonna lie here and think about what I've done wrong.
Even if we suck at them. After we finished MGS2, we still had that itch that only Metal Gear could scratch. Well, good thing there's that remake of MGS3 coming. That should fill our fix. Except this was back in May, and Delta wouldn't come out till August. Yeah, our self-restraint was never gonna last that long. Instead, we decided to skip ahead to the end of the timeline. This will change our experience with the rest of the series' story, from what's going to happen to how the hell did we end up here. Case in point, why is our blonde twink now a silver-haired cyborg twink? Like everyone else on the internet, we've been unable to avoid seeing the memes and impact this game has had since its release in 2013. Don't know why we're being coy over naming the game, you can read the video title, but yes, we're talking about Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Considered somewhat of a black sheep and spin-off of the Metal Gear series, MGRR's development was always a bit of a strained one. With Kojima working on Peace Walker and telling his staff to just do whatever you want for this game, its development got little further than a tech demo before eventually being handed to Platinum Games, a company who've made 0 stealth games up till now. Their staple is over-the-top action, and their big standout, Bayonetta, only came out a year before this game was in the works. Looking at footage of these Platinum games, we can see why Kojima would suggest they handle the project. Metal Gear has never shied away from going over-the-top bonkers with its story and cutscenes, so why not try the same with the gameplay? Sadly, since this is not a game with Kojima at the helm, this has put a stain against the game's existence as a part of the series. But is Revengeance really that big of a departure from the rest of the series? Well, we decided to dive into the game and find out. And in order to experience everything in this game, we're going to be earning the 50 achievements served up and grabbing that Revengeance Platinum. Now, Platinum Games are somewhat infamous for not pulling their punches when it comes to telling the players they suck at their games, but as you saw, we already know we suck at Metal Gear games. At least this isn't our first hack and slash game. We've tackled Hi-Fi Rush and came out on top, so who knows? Maybe not having to do everything in rhythm will make things easier. Now, quickly before we get onto the grind, we'd just like to mention these grinds are done live here and over on Twitch, which you can find the link to along with the VOD archives down below. And hey, while you're down there, why not give the video a like? It goes a long way in helping us and these videos out. Now let's cut to the chase and see what we're getting ourselves into. Our aim for this game is a pretty simple 4-part plan, starting off with a normal playthrough. Not only will we be picking up a bunch of the 50 achievements, but it'll also set us up nicely for the 2 additional runs of the game we'll have to do, not just for collectibles, but also the Stormbringer run. That's all for later though. Right now, let's just enjoy the absolute batshit insanity of a Metal Gear game. And hey, maybe this will be the one we're finally good at. After all, from literally the tutorial, we can see that Revengeance ain't no stealth game. We've got parkour, swinging a sword between high heels, and slow motion that's used to slice enemies to bits. Also no block button. Yeah, you can only parry in this game. Something we found out by pure accident before the parry tutorial even started. The wording on how you actually parry is a bit weird. You've got to push the left stick in the direction of the attack and press square at the right time. Bit strange, but that's probably just something we'll have to get used to while playing the game. As for where Raiden is and what Raiden's doing, apparently he's now working for some private military company. He prefers the term private security company, but let's call a spade here. Maverick has been hired to help made-up Countrystan train up and form the new military that's brought the nation into a peaceful and prosperous time. Before Mr. Prime Minister and Mr. Lightning Bolt can start debating the ethical and philosophical merits of peace pointed at people from the barrel of a gun, we're vetoed out of this political discussion with violence at the tip of a sword. With our paycheck currently under attack, we've got to hold back these enemy cyborgs while Mr. Prime Minister gets evac'd out. The fact we get to do so while aura farming is just a bonus. Though on the subject of farming, this first group of enemies offers a very nice opportunity to get our first achievement. All we've got to do is line them up nicely and hit them all in one big swing of blade mode, which is simple enough.
Come here, you. I need you over here. I need you to stand right here. Like, come here, all of you.
Ah, see, look, I got 2 of them at once.
God fucking damn it. Come here, I need 3 of you to line up together. You're just running around in a circle.
What are you doing, Raiden?
I'm trying to get an achievement, Boris. Just fucking wait there, you pillock. Come on. Assault with a deadly weapon. You motherfucker, you did a combat roll. Of course you dodged it, you prick. I just wanted that achievement to start things off. I've been here for 10 fucking minutes. Okay, fine. Look, I made it through. Are you happy now?
Probably not, as during that time we spent flailing and failing to grab the damn achievement. Not only has the limo carrying Mr. Prime Minister been overturned, but now there's a fucking Metal Gear Ray with a giant laser cutter! Also, the apparently more dangerous cyborg with 2 really big blades. You can tell he's dangerous because he's voiced by Crispin Freeman. We get to have a quick chat with Edward Scissorswords, who's not too happy about the whole let's not do war because it's bad thing. And what's the best way to shake things up? Ah, the simple assassination of a prominent and important political figure. Worked once before, it can work again. But unlike Princip, Eddie plans to make it out of the country too, so heads off with Mr. Paycheck, leaving our old pal Ray to keep us company. We would ignore the giant robot with a laser beam and just go right after him, but there's another achievement to be gotten here. Guess we have no choice but to stay here till we get it. Hey, at least it's only 1 ray and not 25 like last time. The previously mentioned laser beam might cause some problems though, since a sword can't exactly parry it. What it can parry though is Ray's tail. All we need to do is get ourselves in the right spot, then wait on that attack. With that done, we get to carve up the tail like this is Monster Hunter and score the first achievement of the grind, Steel Tail. With that checked off the list and one quick stop to Aura Farm for the gram, the Russian voice in our head lets us know we should still be able to catch up to Mr. Prime Minister. Thanks to the massive gaping hole in the building's wall, that'll work as a nice shortcut to get to the nearby waterway. We should point out now while we've got the time that we won't be going for any of the 84 collectibles this run. There's 2 reasons for this. Firstly, one set of collectibles can be a bit buggy and we'd rather avoid any issues there. Secondly, it's not 84 collectibles. It's actually closer to 600 and we'll add an extra 6.5 hours to the collectible playthrough. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, especially since that damn UG still works. Well, Steel Silver Lining, that's another chance to Aura Farm. No! No! What the fuck? So Raiden can't have a double jump, but he can do this? Well, that's 2 arms dealt with. And now he's dealt with. Yay! Except he's not dealt with. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, this is a checkpoint now, so that's good. Oh, no. No. I'm just gonna run down a fucking clock face. This is definitely from the same people who made Bayonetta. Oh, please tell me we're gonna do what I think we're gonna do. Split it in fucking half! Oh, he's... Do the thing. Do the thing where you sheath it and then it goes. Do the thing where you sheath it and then it breaks. Yes! With how long it took to farm all that aura, Eddie's able to reach the railway and hop onto the passing freight train. No, nobody else try and stop him or anything. Leave it all to Mr. Lightning Bolt. Good thing that aura farming allows us to screw physics just a little more and we'll run fast enough to reach the end of the train. By the time we make it to Eddie, he's regrouped with killer quads and even chained up Mr. Prime Minister. Oh, no, guess not anymore. Unfortunately, now their taxi home is here, Mr. Prime Minister's usefulness has ended, so it's time to cut the check, so to speak. Good news, though. Only Eddie was able to get onto the chopper before the train entered the tunnel. Now we've just got a 1v1 while we head through the mountain. Unfortunately, it's here Mr. Lightning Bolt learns that he's not the only one who's been aura farming, and Quads can do it so masterfully it's almost effortless for him. Does it help having a cool red katana that even comes with its own explosive propulsion sheath for even faster Iaijutsu? Probably. Is it even needed after literally disarming LB? Probably not. Now, normally they say don't go towards the light, but in this instance, that light at the end of the tunnel is thankfully a lucky break for us, since the voice in our head shows up to bail us out. Not sure we could really call this a successful mission though. Mr. Prime Minister is lying some 2 miles back on the side of the railroad, Mr. Lightning Bolt is bleeding out on the back of the freight train, and the people who caused all this flew off scot-free. It is the end of the mission though, and we get File R00 status closed, along with several unanswered questions. Most pressingly, are we still getting paid? After 3 weeks of new procedures for Raiden to get a more curvaceous body, some information gathering, and a lot of PR over what happened in made-up Countrystan, Maverick has a job in Abkhazia. A very real place that exists, and didn't cause us to have to rewrite part of this script after finding that out. Don't worry about it. This time, Raiden will be stealth-dropped in to deal with the military coup that has killed, controlled, or scattered the government. From our sources, we've learned that it's the American PMC Desperado that is not only the arms supplier of this coup in Abkhazia, but also responsible for the the assault during the last mission. Kinda surprised it took us 3 weeks to figure that out. I mean, their logo was right there on the ray. Anyway, let's start this mission off with that stealth drop. Firing right and head first onto the shoreline for some really sweet aura farming shots. While this, unsurprisingly, does attract the attention of some enemies, this was hardly a problem before, and this new body ain't just for show. By removing all those unnecessary components like repair nanopastes and internal organs, that space can be used for more aura farming capacity. For example, we can now slice open our enemies and grab the chest computers from their, spines to steal their aura, using that to fuel the Zandatsu mode to eviscerate even more enemies and steal their chest computers. Despite this little ambush from 3 idiots, the stealth drop was apparently successful. We do try and keep this as a stealth mission for as long as possible, but come on, Raiden's a white-haired, definitely 6-foot-tall cyborg that looks like the end result of an orgy between every gaming PC peripheral. Also, this is us at the helm, so yeah, that was never gonna last long. Hey, at least with all this combat, we end up learning that the basic cyborgs are very susceptible to being tripped by sliding through them. Essentially, this means we never actually have to try fighting them. The freaky-legged, mooing bipedal robots? Less so. Now, we do have to pick up the first of the 20 VR missions on our way to our next boss, IF prototype LQ-84I, one of the many AIs currently ruining the world. We do have to admit, though, a knife-throwing, chainsaw-wielding robot wolf is a very cool design for an AI robot. The fight itself is also rather fun, giving you a decent opportunity to learn the parry mechanics. It's also a nice opportunity for us to explain it too. There's 2 variations of the parry. Flicking the left stick in the direction of the enemy and pressing square results in a normal parry, which is actually just a block. Still very useful because, you know, you don't take damage, which means you don't die. The best parry, though, is when the timing of the inputs is just before the enemy attack lands. If you can pull that off, not only will you block the attack, but you'll then follow up with a strike of your own. The timing is a lot tighter, but the risk can be worth the reward. As the savvy warrior it is, the over-engineered iDog does have several other cyborgs below them at their disposal. You know, like how military higher-ups throw wave after wave of expendable cannon fodder over the top into the shredder. Oh hey, would you look at that? There's assault with a deadly weapon. Fun fact, did you know that military working dogs rank higher than their handlers since there are no laws protecting the dogs from abuse, but there are laws to protect people from abuse based on ranks? Anyway, about that second edition for Peter.
God damn it! I'm kind of annoyed that I fucking... Oh, that's fine. It's fine. Just slice him. Slice him. You will tell no one. You will tell no one of the barrel that did damage to me.
Next up, after that fun boss fight, is the tutorial mini-boss fight with the Hammerhead. The tutorial here is learning that flying enemies suck balls. Also, that you're supposed to use the right sub-weapon for the right enemies, but why use a boring old rocket launcher when you've got a cool sword? At least the left arm tutorial is skippable, something we totally intended on doing, cause, yeah, the collectible run, yeah. With the refinery in our sights now, a quick scoping out of it just so happens to get us vision on the leader of this coup, Andrei Dolzaev. While he's the only target we're after, that woman with actual character design must be someone important too. A good thing the only thing stopping us from getting there is a single wire fence. You'd think there'd be more security than that after turning everyone else on the way here to paste, but guess not. Before we go rushing off through the refinery, there's an easily missable achievement to grab here. Just break all 8 cameras with mounted machine guns on them. You can find half of them in a single room, and the Hubble rocket launcher can take them out in one hit to score us no flash photography. Surprisingly, after all this, Mr. Lightning Bolt's arrival wasn't unexpected. Who could have seen that pasting everything from the coast to the refinery might have had some ramifications? That woman with actual character design is here waiting for us, and from the looks of it, she's either here to hit on Raiden or dump her backstory. Still could be either. She too grew up in a war-torn country, learning to fight and kill from a young age, just like Jack did. But the killing was easy and dull, leaving her adrift on the ocean of blood she'd spilt. That was until she found purpose in his ideals. It's certainly an attractive offer, but she's half French and doesn't have toes, so it's a no deal from Raiden. Guess Miss Troll is gonna have to try hitting on us the literal way. A boss fight has 2 main modes. The mode where you get to play the game, and the far more frequent part where you don't. Not because of any attacks from Miss Troll, but rather the endlessly spawning 3-armed ball bearings that just don't take no for an answer. For how early on in the game you are, there's not many options for dealing with any of this. The best bet is to ninja run and swing wildly at anything that gets within a 6-foot radius suspicious of you. Sometimes that might even include the boss. After a quick fling with Missy, you're onto the 2D phase of the fight on a nice long pipe. The balls are still here though, so you're gonna have to work the whole length of this shaft to try and get close enough to actually enjoy the fight. At least the infinite amount of dwarf geckos all but guarantees getting looking out for the little guys in between getting whipped and having exploding balls thrown in your face. It's not even Raiden's birthday. Phase 3 is more of Phase 1, but now everything's on fire, and this includes the soundtrack. As long as you're mindful of the oil drums which explode on hit, one good parry on her attacks and you'll get to precisely tear her pole to ribbons. Do that enough times and she'll eventually realize Raiden's giving her the cold shoulder.
Okay, let's see what we're doing here. Getting close. Nice. Okay. Ooh, what are we doing here? Let me guess, liquid nitrogen, isn't it? Aha, we're gonna freeze her in place. Oh, what's up, Mistral? Getting the cold shoulder? Yeah. Hell yeah. Stealth mission.
Alright, now to just go find Dosido somewhere in the facility. Oh, there he is. Right out in the open on top of the refinery. Our mission objective was just to stop him, right? Because, technically, this is still a successful mission, right? Okay, thank you for file R01, status closed. That doesn't answer the question. Did we get paid or not? With a little downtime traveling to our next mission, we take a peek at the customizations that are now available for purchase. See, every battle, item pickup, hell, anything you do really, gives us a bunch of battle points. This is where that BP gets spent. Nothing here is of great importance right now, but aerial parry and defensive offense are skills so good they probably should have been unlocked from the start. Having been at the site of a political leader's assassination in Africa, and now the explosion of a recently built oil refinery in the Western Europe area, Maverick is running out of places willing to pay us. Thankfully, North America is more than happy to hire us. Political assassinations and bombings are hardly uncommon in the US, but we're heading to Mexico right now, so to make sure there are no more, accidents, Doc's put the LQ-84I back together to act as our supervisor. No more chainsaw though. That's probably for the best. We're here in Guadalajara to follow up on a lead a human rights group found while looking into a lab that's had some illegal dumping and possible human trafficking going on. The real kicker is Desperado's name coming up when they dug a little deeper. After one quick aura farming session before heading underground, it doesn't take us long to find evidence of activity down here. Or rather, it found us. Turns out in the arms race to find new ways of committing war crimes, 3-meter-tall, wrist-mounted grenade launcher gorilla motherfuckers are pretty effective. Even when you take off both the arms, someone taught these bastards how to dropkick. Best advice for dealing with these? Actually be a cyborg ninja and just stealth take down these buggers. Save yourself a concussion or 3. Scouting further ahead down these multi-leveled sewers, Blade Wolf found a boy, but rather than do anything to help or try to contact them, that gets relegated to a job for Raiden. Oh, yeah, that's probably why. Really regretting neutering Blade Wolf's chainsaw right about now. The kid's dressed in dirty medical apparel and isn't Mexican, but Guyanese. Those human trafficking leads seem to be right. George here confirms that there's some kind of lab here housing a bunch of kids who've all been picked up from off the street. The only reason George still isn't there is he overheard talk of what's supposed to happen to them. Total organ harvesting. The drainage tunnel George escaped through is still close by with some kind of shutter beside it, so that's our way in. But with some important Desperado members on site yesterday, our window to rescue these kids is narrowing. Oh, and the area is swarming with patrolling UGs. We're actually gonna have to try to stealth through here. Well, for as long as we can, anyway. These giant robot pond skimmers, more awkwardly known as Verdomierka, are an interesting and unique enemy to this level. Why we're highlighting this is that not only are there an endless number of them here, but actually because they're the focus of our next achievement. Each enemy type in the game has an achievement tied to defeating a certain number of them. Since this enemy can only be found easily here, guess we've got to take down 5 of them right now. Pretty easy to do since you can do a stealth takedown on them. And the last one was even nice enough to give us the double whammy in Pond Scum and Batsu Right. I love it when that happens. Once we're in the hidden facility, Doctor suggests we take a dump. With that, we'll be able to more readily interface with any terminals here, but also skim their data for information and leads. Now that Apple's been shut down, all these electronics are universal, so it's as simple as plugging in a USB. The room full of brains we entered while looking for a device is rather disturbing. We'll just, Moving on, this dwarf gecko will do nicely for our needs. You might have noticed a pattern here with there being one level specific achievement per level with steel tail and no flash photography, but there's actually 2 in this one, both involving this little guy here. For taking out all 3 cyborgs in this room as the gecko, we earn Dwarf Raiden, and then for waving at all our fellow tripod friends, we score love at first sight. With the room secured and a data terminal accessed, Doctor's able to find a record of one of the cyborgs' visual data, and guess who happens to show up on it? Aside from Eddie, there's some other suit here that seems to be the one financing and leading this little brain harvesting operation. Not to mention talks of training these kids virtually with the same stuff Raiden went through. Since that human rights group has been poking around, Desperado plans to shut this lab down and just start up another one elsewhere. That's why George heard about the plan to gut the kids for their organs. And the bad news just keeps coming. Courtney informs Raiden George couldn't be found anywhere. Well, that's just great. The only way this could be worse is if a giant barrage of missiles and gunfire was blocking the way. Oh, uh-oh. What the fucking missile motherfucker was that? Say hello to the boss for this level, the Grad. This Decepticon-looking motherfucker is heavily armored, heavily equipped, and knows how to drift. Thankfully, it's only one of them in this rather condensed space, so despite the camera having a hell of a time, we clear through without much hassle once we smack it about enough. While we were dealing with that, Kevin was doing a Google image search on the guy in the suit from that video feed, who turns out to be the US Senator Stephen Armstrong. The very same Stephen Armstrong with ties to the largest PMC in the world and a shoo-in for the presidency in 2020. You mean to tell me that a US politician would use their political power to benefit the companies they have investments in? But they represent the will of the people, not the will of the people who put money in their pockets. We can't even go big with the news that it's World Marshal dealing under the table with Desperado to carve up these kids or destabilizing other nations. No media outlet is going to want to have these allegations put out with their name on it. The last thing they'd want is a private military and their pocket senator pissed off at them. It'd be political, financial, and actual suicide. Plus, at this point, major corporations and US politicians being corrupt is hardly breaking news. If anyone's going to put a stop to this, it'll have to be us. Kevin, however, is against the idea that we stop whatever these bastards are planning because
Colorado is in America. And America has these things called laws.
Kevin, you stupid cunt. The first thing we've got to do, though, is get the rest of these kids out of here before we can worry about storming Colorado. Oh, hey, there they are. And as ordered, the facility staff are beginning to dispose of these kids. The head researcher was even nice enough to find George and bring him back to us, leaving Raiden with a tough choice to make.
Break that glass, and I'll blow his brains out.
Okay, and then what will you do? I mean, here's the thing. Your bargaining chip falls away either way. Either all those kids in there die, in which case then I can kill you without any issues, or George dies, and then those kids are safe, and you don't. Here's the thing. As long as, like, I can kill that guy and maybe save George, I can just throw him in the tank with all the other stuff so I can save him for a couple of hours. I'm sure someone can fix him up. Okay. Yeah, he ain't gonna do it. Yep, that's your meat shield. You can't kill him. Yeah, and then what happens, though? Then what happens? Oh! Nice work, George! All I gotta do is stab him. You know, just throw a knife, stab him, throw the sword. No. Oh. Oh. Oh, we're going for a slice. Okay, yeah, take his arm off. Oh. Oh, we just went right through George. We should probably omit that detail from the case report before we send it in. It also happens to be the last report we'll be filing with Maverick. Due to their hesitancy to take any action in stopping World Marshal, Armstrong, or Desperado, Raiden resigns and takes Blade Wolf with him to do it on his own. At least it's a comfortable drive through Colorado, and as a normal citizen, that should afford us some anonymity. Well, it was worth a shot. As mentioned by Kevin earlier, World Marshal isn't just a PMC, it's also been handed the role of law enforcement across the entirety of Denver. The US politician having their own private army being used as law enforcement? Okay, now I know we're playing a crazy work of fiction here. This does mean that the option of a stealth mission wasn't even on the table, which works for us. This way's been far more fun anyway. Well, it was until we realized that, due to the unjustifiably high amounts of money the US spends on funding the war industry, the grad boss from the last level is now a regular enemy. Our Our plan, Operation Stop Tecumseh, has 3 very simple steps. Step 1, get to World Marshal Headquarters and take the child brains intended for new cyborg soldiers. Step 2, find out what Operation Tecumseh is. And Step 3, stop Operation Tecumseh. With the help from great cybernetic surgeon, the brains should be in good care once we get our hands on them. Everything between here and that happening, though, is kinda made up on the fly. Officially, Maverick condemns Raiden and his actions so as to cover their own asses. Unofficially, though, nothing's really changed, and the crew are here to help however possible. With our little detour earlier, we'll just have to make the rest of the journey on foot. Over the rooftops was the initial plan to minimize enemy encounters, which didn't exactly pan out, since there are enough enemies hanging around up here for us to take out our 100th basic cyborg for anti-cyborg sentiment. Well, if going over everything didn't work, perhaps going under everything might work instead. Wait, hold on, we basically just jumped off a building here. How are we sorting out the landing? These abandoned railway tunnels also happen to have our next achievement in them. Now, we did get slightly confused over this achievement, since you've got to walk through this railway without using augment mode. If you happen to get spotted during this section, the game does brighten up the screen so you can, see what you're doing while fighting. Which, while very useful, we thought was automatically giving you augment mode and would void the achievement. This isn't actually the case. Oops. This means, for the first time in any Metal Gear game, we tried our best to stealth through an entire area. Not only is there a humorous irony to us being semi-decent at this game's stealth, but also, since our main roadblock was the 3 Mastiffs at the start, pseudo-farming these via stealth kills ended up earning us silverback in the process. It's only right after finally getting all 3 Mastiff stealth kills do we double-check and find out the brightness when fighting doesn't count as AR mode. But as it turns out, this tunnel isn't done giving us achievements, since we also require Rip 'em Apart for 100 enemies defeated by cutting them. I mean, we're using a sword for most of these. Aren't they all defeated by cutting them? Let's not think too hard about it and just get back above ground to make sure we've done everything right for a walk in the dark. The good news is, aside from marking off our 15th achievement in only 4 hours, we're now just one quick jaunt through the commercial district away from World Marshal. Oh hey, it's Piss Stream. Should have guessed that the Desperado despots would be hanging around here. Seeing as these part-time Walmart security have been put on ice, Sammy decides that maybe having that philosophical discussion over the morality of violence to bring peace is a good idea. All these poor people turning to World Marshal to find a job after having been destroyed in the wars caused by PMCs trying to keep their economy solvent. It's not their fault the company is ruining the world or using them as human shields. And who is Raiden to cut away at them? He's obviously no better than they are, just because he's trying to make the world a better place by not allowing children to be turned into monstrous killing machines. Did he ever stop to think that maybe this is just a difference of opinion? He should really be more tolerant and just learn to get along with everyone. After feeding him a bunch of unverifiable audio sob stories to distract him, Raiden ends up taking a pounding from 2 sticks. Not really sure how these actually do any damage to someone who can survive this, but sure, whatever. Wrestling with the weight of this guilt all the way to Marshall's door, it's not just Sam who's waiting for us. This cheeky kid jumps down from the doorway, taunting Raiden's slicing cyborg skills to bits by doing it to themselves. We would now talk about the deep conversation over the memetics of different cultures and the societies that have grown and evolved over the years from them, and how they all serve a purpose to existence, but... Oh, Kitty! Hi, Kitty! Aww! Aww, look at that! Aww! Aww.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, sorry, you were trying to have some kind of, like, deep conversation with me. I was looking at the cat.
Something did get through to Raiden, though. All this time, the aura farming, the over-the-top poses, the wielding a sword with his feet, it was all just to create the persona of a cool-as-fuck cyborg ninja, farming the adoration that came from doing awesome-looking things without stopping to think about what the fuck was actually going on. So, if he's gonna farm all this aura, it might as well go to good use. And what better a use than to eviscerate some philosophy-spouting, terrorist, magnetic motherfucker. Accompanied by one hell of a headbanger track, this boss fight is gonna teach you one thing. Parrying multiple attacks in a row is a fucking nightmare. Monday Sundare's attack patterns come in a few varieties. Starting off, you'll get the I'ma hit you 7 times in a row bullshit, followed mainly by the peekaboo I stab you minigame. Eventually, you'll get the hang of all these attacks, and you know what they say, what doesn't kill you only makes you wish it did. After chucking several vehicles containing some useful goodies inside, we enter phase 2 of this fight that we like to call the "Nah, you didn't hear, I totally dodged that." Not only can Mon Sun now fling both their arms at you from long range, but also send his entire lower half to try and kick the shit out of you. You won't be able to attack back at all here, so you're gonna have to get really used to flicking the left stick and mashing square until you get the chance to get a hit in. And you better not miss that swing. At 40%, instead of throwing a couple vehicles at once, you get to deal with a giant exploding Beyblade of death in one of two ways. You could run from side to side to avoid it, or you could be a cool as fuck cyborg ninja and parry that shit. At this point, you'll have seen every attack you have to worry about, but there's one tip we do have. If you want to skip the magnetic dodging BS, just toss out an EMP grenade and that'll give you a window to get some good damage in. Oh, also, the only checkpoint in this fight here is right at the end when it's basically over, so good luck.
Okay, well, you made it spin. What do you expect to happen here? Oh no, I will, I'll just walk on top of it. Oh! Oh, what a fucking sick line! That's what you get for taking away my fight with Jetstream, Sam!
And just like that, we're halfway through part 1 of Operation Stop Tecumseh. At least since we quit Maverick, we don't have to do any more paperwork after each case. Okay, so step 1 of this 3-step plan has so far gone well-ish. Now on to finding those brains in this massive multi-story building infested with World Marshal cyborgs. Shit. Lucky for us, Eddie just couldn't resist letting us know all those brains are being stored in the server room, wherever that is. Doctor was able to trace that call to the top floor of the building, but it's not like we can just take an elevator up there to meet him. Oh, I guess we can just take an elevator up to meet him once it's been hacked. Wait, how the hell do you hack an elevator? While Wolf and Doc figure that out, we get reminded that this game came out in 2013, so it's time for a turret section. After getting absolutely demolished in the tiny lift by a Mastiff, we finally get the damn door closed and can head on up. Not to the top floor, no, that would be far too helpful. No, the building is divided between the lower floors where the general day-to-day civil oppression is done and the upper floors where the bigger war crimes are planned. Doc's floor plans of the building show that from the 20th floor, there's another elevator to get up higher. Sadly, even after trying really hard to get one of those important left hands, these useless grunts don't have the clearance for the door. Rather than hack it like the lift, it'll be far quicker and more fun to just tear through the entire floor to find the 2 transformers and backup generator. Especially since we can now tap into our stored aura for a massive damage output increase. Once through the big electrical door, before we can reach the lift, we're ambushed by more enemies who've decided to go for the scorched earth approach to stopping us. In the swarm of bullets, explosions, and collapsing building, we slash through our 10th slider for Slider Strike. Actually, those sliders give us an idea for something really dumb, but really cool.
Okay, we're doing this. Right, and why are we doing this? Yeah, but now you're just outside. What are you gonna... Oh, you're gonna use the explosion to... You are kidding. Don't mind me, just currently trying to defy fucking physics, dealing with all the Yay!
Having now climbed up another dozen or so floors, we end up finding ourselves in a VIP waiting area built as a huge Japanese garden with fake night skyline and all. Aside from giving us a beautiful backdrop for the next couple of fights and allowing us to be an assassin behind closed doors, we've got the next level specific achievement to grab here. After carefully jumping along the mini Andon and reaching the highest point in the garden, Raiden can be a menace to society by taking the top of this pagoda. Reminder, this is 30-some floors up in a skyscraper in Denver, Colorado of all bloody places. We say this because now we get to take the freight elevator found beyond this garden to get the rest of the way up to the server room. I mean, we've already had a turret section this level, might as well have an elevator fight too. And oh boy, are they throwing every massive enemy they can find onto this tiny ass platform. At least this also happens to be our 10th regular sized gecko for herpetophobia, which, fun fact, is the fear of reptiles such as lizards, snakes, and geckos. This has no bearing on anything at all, just a fun fact for you all, so we can now say this is an educational video. Nearly 10 minutes later, we've reached the final stop on this elevator at what we think is floor 53. The server room is just ahead, behind this suspiciously long corridor and single room where absolutely nothing will be waiting for us. Okay. Welcome to the most important room in the entire game. The ball busting room. The repeat boss fight against Mistral is one of those show how much stronger the player has become moments. That, and it's also now a fun allegory warning of how AI is incapable of creating anything of its own, and when it does copy someone else, it's inferior in every way. But that's not what makes this room important. Those infinitely respawning dwarf geckos are now little more than pinatas filled with BP for us. So, by basically ignoring AI Mistral and building up as big a hit and kill combo as possible, this will earn you a stupid amount of BP. And a stupid amount is exactly what we're going to need, since we've got to buy everything in the customization menu. The best part about this farming is if you're ever worried about the AI's health getting too low, you can save and reload the checkpoint and it'll pop you right back outside this fight. We felt it prudent to spend a little time here grinding away on some balls with our pole work, so in just under half an hour, we were able to accrue an extra 140,000 BP, enough for the Fox Blade and a few of its enhancements. Is the DLC content required for Ich liebe Kapitalismus? Honestly, don't know. And at this point, finding out we wasted over 200,000 BP would be devastating, so let's just say it is. At least this means that we can now ninja run through pretty much everything easier than a hot knife through butter, including AI Mistral. Oh, and you're here too. Goody, we'd almost suppressed the memories of fighting Monsun. After suppressing those memories even harder, we're into the server room where Scissor Swords is waiting for us. He's back for another speech about how war and cruelty is the innate human nature. Fighting it is as pointless as Raiden trying to stop this operation. The higher-ups long gone, officers worldwide, the war economy parasitically infecting through society as a whole. Even if we save these kids, in 3 hours it won't even matter. PMC demand is about to skyrocket like the good old days after 9/11. To avoid any collateral damage, the two take things outside for their duel with some mood-appropriate rainfall. Guess we should thank Eddie for having those two AI fight us. They make for a great warm-up. Here's the most divisive fight in the entire game, all because of the lesson it's teaching you, aiming with blade mode. Now we like to start off these fights by getting a feel for the attacks and patterns the boss has, and then work on the parry timing for them. In the process though, we might have just managed to effortlessly walk through phase 1 of this fight in about a minute. Guess we're just that good. This seems to have rather upset Eddie as he opts to bring back his signature move. All this really does is make more unblockable attacks in a wider AoE. That and having him literally rip down signal towers to sweep across half the field. Honestly, I'm not sure if this guy just has a pathetically small amount of health, we finally got to grips with this fighting style, or a bit of both, because we were kind of surprised the fight finished so fast. Even with the fake out death, the last part is just flying back up through the tunnel to blade mode him, so the fake out death was the last time we actually fought Eddie. But ever the optimist, Raiden can at least aura farm another despot's demise. In his final moments, the fully intact head of Eddie tells us that in 3 hours, Operation Tecumseh will begin. We know anything that rivals 9/11 can't be good, so we really got to put a stop to it. Piecing together a picture from his taunts earlier, we know that even at Mark II, we'd not be able to stop it, so that narrows down our options. Knowing that it spiked PMC usage, it can't just be another civil war. It'd need to be a political superpower getting involved, like, say, the President of the United States, who's currently on his way to Pakistan for peace talks. If something were to happen to him there, the powder keg of nationalistic American patriots would galvanize the world into another endless and racially charged war on terror. With no way to contact the military, we'll simply have to make the 7,500 mile journey before them. Good thing we happen to have a contact with a rocket developer who can help. So with Doc on his way to pick us and the brains up, step 1 and 2 of Operation Stop Tecumseh are completed. Despite Doc's timely arrival and small talk as we take off, Marshall has one last gift for us. Without much of a choice, Raiden will just have to go aura farm a little bit more. To be fair, it is a fucking sick shot. And hey, he even stuck the landing back onto the chopper. Oh, no, well, he's dead.
That was quite the fall, Raiden.
Wait, what do you mean that was quite the fall? Ugh, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. Let's just worry about getting the hell out of Denver. After all that flying about, we happen to land right outside the World Marshal building. That means we'll just do step 1 of Operation Stop Tecumseh, but backwards. The level-specific achievement is for doing this whole level in under 7 minutes. There's probably a comment about how concerningly short that makes this level, but we're not super worried about getting that right now. Mostly due to getting the shit kicked out of us. And besides, even if we don't get it now, it'll take less than 7 minutes to come back and get it anyway. Also, when we said we'd be doing step 1 but backwards, we meant that literally. This level is RO3 but backwards. It's kind of neat seeing what a difference brighter lighting and some puddles from the rain make. While on our way out of the shopping district, we managed to grab a souvenir extinction level event from the very helpful handful of raptors. Thankfully, our route out of Denver doesn't involve going back through the old railway or the rooftop, so it really is a rather short mission. We can even afford to get sidetracked with getting the collectibles since there are so few here.
Oh Oh, fucking hell! This is bad! Right. Oh, fuck. I can't fucking see a thing! Ow. How the fuck are they jumping so high? Ow. This is fine. This is not fine. Uh-oh. Ow. 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 Oof. Ow. Well, at least the melons are safe. Fucking hell. Okay. Note to self.
Don't get sidetracked. Also, we f***ed up getting the human gecko in this level anyway, so we really should just stick to our plans and get them all later. But speaking of plans, we plan to leave Denver via chopper, so I guess we'll just have to stick to the plan and leave Denver via chopper. Again, we won't mention this in the report. Oh yeah, that's right, we quit Maverick. Always forget about that. It's rather convenient that Solus is also stationed in Colorado, and with our fancy new bike, it'll only take us a couple of hours to get there. Yes, it does mean that leaves us with only an hour to get to Pakistan and then actually stop Operation Tecumseh, but at least that's still some time. Doc lets us know he's out of Colorado airspace with the brains intact, and Wolf's been dropped off too, who we happen to find having a little heart-to-heart with an old co-worker. So that was Eddie's plan all along. By letting us know about their plan, he knew we would plan to stop their plan, so he could plan around our plan to stop their plan so they could continue with the plan. Which is why Pissstream here is our welcoming party to Solus. He's been nice enough not to massacre everyone at the launch site, and instead wants one thing: a simple duel to the death. The battle of two ideas. Winner takes all. Hell, he's not even bothering to give us any philosophical speeches about higher powers or causes. And while, yes, we might be putting the entire fate of the peaceful world at risk, we decided that, you know what, sure, this will be a pure 1v1. No Foxblade, no secondary weapons, just two men skillfully wielding their swords in the dusklight. We'll take our time savoring this moment, not just learning the parry timings and flow of this fight. We'd go into more details on it now, but we'll save that technical stuff for the other runs. So sit back and enjoy the homoerotic scenes of two jacked men pounding against each other with swords in hand. This is gonna be good. Holy sh... Okay, that was fast. Okay, never mind trying to parry him. How about I just beat the shit out of him? Uh-oh. What is he? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, I'm fine. So far, I've only taken 1 instance of damage. Oh, sh... Well, he's not blocking all of my attacks now, which is nice. 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's a very fast series of blade strikes. No, no buy. No buy, please. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, kick. The kick is easy to deal with. That's easy to deal with. This is not. Oh, you fucking missed! Because I used offensive defense. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh no, I don't have a sword now. Whatever will I do? Oh, my face. I needed that. Walked right into it. I didn't fucking move. No, not again. I don't care if I can fucking slash parry against him. I don't. Ow. Need to do that right now. What I need to do is not get my ass beat, which, you know, easier said than done. I'll admit. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck away from me. What the fuck was that? Oh, you really like my face down in the dirt, don't you? Oh, okay. Yeah, mashing. Ah. That would have completely ripped up the palms of his hands, by the way, because he was holding the actual edge of the blade. So yeah, bit of a problem. Oh no. And now he's got his sword back. I probably shouldn't have let him do that. Actually, no, I think I should have, because it's a lot easier to deal with here. Ow, never mind. 3, 4, got it. Holy shit, he is losing a lot of health right now. Ow. Oh, so am I. Okay. Okay, that was kind of timed really sick. We both have 5%. Let's go. Okay. No, I had that! I fucking had that! Fight me. There we go. Right. Yep. Oh, fuck. Is it? Okay. What are we doing? What? What? What do you mean that's it? No phase 2? Yeah, we got so caught up in the moment, we really thought Sam would have something else up his metal sleeves. But it turns out the opponent who walked down Raiden on a train was basically nothing but a normal guy in a suit of armor. Wait, hold on, Sam bodied Raiden barehanded and was basically just some guy. Remember, this body Raiden has is stronger than the one that yeeted a fucking Metal Gear like a frisbee. Fucking Brazilians, man. Sadly, we can't loot his kick-ass sword since there's an ID lock on it. Not entirely sure how you put an ID lock on a sword, but I guess we'll just have to stick with our stick to... Oh, shit, yes, Pakistan. We gotta get going. Once we arrive at Solus, we're greeted at the gate by this, child. Are we supposed to know her? I mean, she's got the silver hair and... Oh, this isn't our kid from MGS2, is it? Whoa, she's the one who built these rockets? Wait, no, we're playing a Metal Gear game. That's part of the course. As long as she gets us to Pakistan, everything's fine.
Hold on, we're basically sending a missile hurtling right over Pakistan from the US. They aren't going to try to shoot us down or anything, are they?
The only airbase with a World Marshal contract in the region is the military base of Shahbazabad. As such, we've just got to bet on this being where Tecumseh is going to go down. From the outside, everything seems normal, but the soldiers here are all showing up with the same affiliation code as Desperado. So that's the plan. Claim Desperado hacked the cyborgs and used them to carry out the attack. Not only does this set up some foreign threat, but also spins an angle of, see, we need to spend trillions of dollars on the budget of the military. Funding food stamps or education. Look what happens when they don't get all the funding. What's worse is since Desperado are known to be working with the Pakistani rebels, every media outlet will put these pieces together and do the rest of the work for World Marshal. Contacting Air Force One would be too slow at best and impossible at worst. All we can do is make smoke signals and hope they get the hint that something's wrong. The airbase itself is, well, it's a single hangar and 3 fights. Hell, you can sneak through here without ever fighting for an achievement. That's how short this level is. And yet, somehow in that time, Wolf managed to get themselves absolutely demolished. Seriously? There's only like 20 cyborgs here. How the hell did they manage to... Oh, shit. Yeah, that'd probably do it. And who should happen to be inside but the man of the hour, U.S. House Representative of the state of California, Mr. Stephen Armstrong. Joke's on him, though. This giant Metal Gear will surely have Air Force One's attention. There's no way they'll be landing here now. Wait, what do you mean they're already turning back? Why? What do you mean the story leaked early? Who the f***'s left alive to leak it? Turns out that even though Air Force One is heading back to the States and the president's fine, the death of US soldiers on foreign ground is still a big enough spark. Citizens of the US are demanding action be taken, calling for blood. The Patriots may be long gone, but their influence and impact apparently aren't. Americans are no sons of liberty. They're sons of the Patriots. A machine as malicious and cruel as it is shockingly self-sustaining. All you need is a little blood and war to get the gears turning again. Tecumseh is well underway now. The only thing left to do is stamp out any eyewitness reports complicating the message. And while piloting Metal Gear Excelsus, stamping is a very readily available option. Seriously, the giant swords and feet are so damn heavy, even parrying this thing results in taking damage. Oh, and if the one giant laser beam from a Metal Gear Ray wasn't enough, this f***er comes equipped with 2 giant laser beams. Thankfully, the fight itself is one big spectacle, ending not just with you suplexing the giant bastard, but also ripping off one of the swords and using it to blade mode through the entire f***ing thing after a clashing of blades. Every boss fight just got retroactively worse for not containing this exact moment. Armstrong managed to survive the evisceration somehow, and in true Metal Gear fashion, we end up not only with people doing batshit insane things like this, but also a big long spiel with evergreen commentary on the state of the world. Operation Tecumseh isn't just to get Armstrong rich or into the presidency. Those are merely stepping stones for his ultimate goal. After using war as a business to generate the capital and votes he needs, Armstrong plans to burn down the current political and judicial systems. Diseased and rotten to the core, there's no saving a system where those with the strength to act are confined by so-called laws and justice. The will and strength of the individual should be the only system of power. Those who fight for their beliefs and survive are the only ones who should be thriving. Fighting not just because they're told, or for money, or for oil. Fighting to live as they see fit. All while beating the ever-loving f*** out of Raiden because...
Nanomachine, son!
Like we said, completely batshit insane. We might be in a bit of trouble though, since our tool of justice was snapped like a Kit Kat bar, so really gonna need to pull our sword out of our ass for this fight. Oh, sweet, Wolf is okay, and he was storing Sam's sword in his chassis somewhere. It even comes with a speaker where we learn that the lock on this sword is now disabled, so we've got Sam's blessing to carve up this monster. And hey, this isn't even the first time Raiden's had to stab a US politician to death. Sure, this one is shirtless and punching us with his bare hands, but the explosions are at least familiar. Once we cut to the chase and really get to the heart of things, throwing some heavy ideas back and forth, Raiden and Armstrong come to realize that it has to be this way. But, hand on his heart, Raiden can now say that Operation Tecumseh has successfully been stopped. World Marshal's on its knees now most of its funding is gone, and all the brains Doc's been looking after are now part of a new cyborg firm for construction and nursing care. All's well that ends well. Yes, the US is now facing a radicalized push to attack Pakistan and a very strained relationship with them, but at least the president won't be a criminally insane monster who'll destroy the lives of every American and potentially the entire world in 2020. Overall, not too shabby. 26 achievements in the first one is pretty good going. But that also means there are 24 still left to go. So, let's have a look and see what those are, shall we? Before starting up the big collectibles run and worrying about all of that, there are still 2 of those level challenge achievements to grab. Might as well tidy those up on an easier difficulty while we still can. The first one was in RO5, Great Escape. That's the make it through the level in under 7 minutes one. Our first time through was over double that, but we were taking our time and doing most of the fights. This time around, now knowing how and where the enemy spawn, there are only 3 fights that we have to do. The initial one that opens up the level, the one in the place where Sam tried to psychologically manipulate us, and then the fight involving the Mastiff and truck of cyborgs at the end of the level. Even refusing to stealth our way through parts of the level and taking on an extra fight, with the weaponry we've got and the skill we've definitely acquired, we're able to make it out with a minute to spare. And you know what? It was a great escape. One quick fight against Sam again for our own pleasure, and we're on to the last level achievement in RO7, Surprise Attack. This one was a little more tricky than just finishing the level fast. We've got to complete the opening of this level without raising an alarm. Given the fact that the gate to get into the airbase has guards posted outside, this is going to take some planning. We did have a written guide for some idea of what to do, but it ended up overcomplicating things a bit. Rather than using the 3D photo frame to try and get the guard's attention, the very conveniently placed homing rocket takes out the first guard easy enough. Once the other 2 start wandering around in circles in caution, which legally is not an alert, so it still counts, we can sneak up behind them and clear out the first fight. Glad that only took 9 minutes to solve. What's nice is that after the codec call, we're given a checkpoint so we can grind this achievement away one fight at a time. While we didn't have to fight any of the enemies in order to get through the hangar, we found it was worth taking them all out quietly, since this gives us a little wiggle room with where we can and can't go. The first 2 large sword cyborgs are easy enough to sneak up behind for a stealth kill, but it's the arse on the upper grating that was a bit more of a bother to get the timing for. The hangar interior isn't so bad, since you'll have the aerial advantage on a couple of these patrolling cyborgs and a lot more space to work with. Just make sure you don't get spotted by the 2 cameras at the end, or you'll have wasted all that effort. The hardest group were the 3 just after the hangar, since they're positioned very awkwardly with little space for you to stay out of sight. We did get very lucky though, slowly drawing one away at a time. For the last guy, the 3D photo frame that could be found at the start of this level proved more than useful enough as a distraction. This is where the achievement should pop, but weirdly enough, the game doesn't check until we finish the whole stage, so... Oh, and the credits are unskippable, so enjoy watching those again! While those play on, this at least gives us a chance to look over the list and see what is up for grabs in the next playthrough. There are 4 remaining achievements for defeating X amount of a specific enemy. Those are for 100 big sword cyborgs, 100 big hammer cyborgs, 10 Fenrir robots, and 10 hammerhead helicopters. No need to think about any of these. Those will get earned without much input from us, and they could happen this run. Now, the 2 big groups this run are the collectibles and the boss fights. The latter will be why this run will be done on hard mode and not easy. We need to beat Mistral, Monsoon, Eddie, Sam, and Armstrong all on hard difficulty or higher without taking damage. This is going to be a fun test of skill, but one that we can tip in our favor. Having now finished a full playthrough, not only do we have all the secondary weapons unlocked, but also the Murasama, a blade with fantastic damage output and a longer reach too, all of which will carry over into our second run, provided we have enough BP for it all. Guess we'll just have to make our way back to our BP farming spot in RO4 off street. Oops. Apparently that was our 10th Fenrir. See what I mean about not having to worry about those enemy achievements? After about 90 minutes of grinding, we've picked up a modest sum of 1.4 million BP. More than enough to max out every weapon we have. There's even enough left over to clear out every secondary weapon, life and fuel gauge, and skill to boot. These will all be fantastically useful in the boss fights, is what we'd like to say. But we can't. You see, there's one teeny tiny mistake we made when starting the hard mode run. How did we manage to throw away 11 hours so easily? Well, it has to do with those collectibles. While there are 20 data storage, 30 left arms, 4 civilian hostages, 20 VR missions, and 5 men in boxes, which you can collect however you like, there are also 5 human geckos. We found 4 out of the 5 in our first playthrough, but there's an issue. The specific wording on the achievement. Destroy all of the humanoid dwarf geckos during story mode. Which means that even though we only have the 1 remaining in RO5 to find, even if we did go back to that chapter and find it, since that isn't during story mode, the achievement wouldn't pop. Since we didn't know how this game gauges what story mode is when it came to starting up a new game, instead of going through the chapter select starting from R-00, yeah, we just went in with a new game. Sure, there were warning signs, but we really didn't want to do an entire run only to find out that this one achievement wouldn't pop. If it costs us all the customization unlocks, then so be it. You may take our fancy gadgets and weapons, but you can't take our skill, damn it! And besides, this run's gonna take an additional 6.5 hours anyway, so might as well make it worth it. Why is this gonna take an extra 6.5 hours? Well, remember back in part 1 when we said this collectible run actually has closer to 600 collectibles? Well, if you've done the maths, you'll realize we've only mentioned 84 so far. That's because the other 500 plus come from a single achievement: Amateur Radio Operator. Listen to most of the codec conversations. Nobody seems to know how many most of actually quantifies, so we'll just have to go through the game and track each and every codec call we listen to. This is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it gives us a ton of fun little extra details, such as fighting tips from Boris, mission updates from Kevin, hearing about many countries' food delicacies and dishes from Courtney, or technological breakdowns of our enemies from Doc, all which flesh out this world and story rather nicely. It just so happens to come at the cost of grinding the game's pace down to a crawl as you sit and call everyone over and over constantly to make sure that you've got all the available codec calls. That's the curse part. There is at least a silver lining here in that all of the collectibles we did end up grabbing during the normal run do still carry over. Okay, it's not really much, but it's something. And hey, this'll be a good training exercise. If we can beat hard mode with none of our upgrades, then we'll be in good stead to work through the Revengeance mode. That's actually the other reason for doing a hard difficulty run. That's how you unlock the very hard and Revengeance difficulties. Sure, you could just enter the Konami code and unlock them that way, but this is a nicer progression towards it. As for what the difficulties change, it's mainly the damage enemies dish out and can take. There's a little more aggression from certain enemies like bosses too, but the biggest change is to the parry. Not only is the parry window tied to the harder the difficulty, but there is also an upside. The higher the difficulty, the more damage you'll do on that counterattack, so there's more risk, but a lot more reward. Since this playthrough is going to be focused on the collectibles and the boss fights, we're not going to repeat the entire story like we did in part 1. We'll just mention the highlights, mainly because it took us an hour and a half to get up to beating Blade Wolf. That's not because of the difficulty, it's all these codec calls. It's a hell of a pace breaker stopping every 5 minutes or new phase of a boss fight to have 5+ minutes of codec calls. Was it like this in the other MGS games? I mean, I know 2 had like an hour-long cutscene at the end, but that wasn't all stop-start codec calls. Okay, well, it's not just those. There's also the scouring of the level to make sure we've been picking up all of the collectibles, like the left arms. At least in doing all these fights, we end up hitting our 50th of the execution attacks for You Don't Run From Chance, and jumping the shark for taking down the Hammerhead mini-boss after the Blade Wolf fight. Okay, well, no, it was actually the second time we did this fight. We replayed this chapter to pick up the VR mission we accidentally missed right before the mistrial cutscene and couldn't go back for it. We might have also forgotten to record that, so let's just pretend it was this time. Deal? Deal. This level still has 2 more achievements for us before it's done. The penultimate is the first man-in-box location, which also happens to be our last of the 5 in the game. Thankfully, these carry over on this playthrough, so a couple quick slashes earn us peekaboo. The last one, though, is going to take a little bit more than a few quick slashes. It's time to get those boss achievements underway. Starting off, if you're going into these fights with new game stats, make sure you have defensive offense and aerial parry unlocked. Also, this is going to require precise and well-planned out attacks and counterattacks. You can't really go in swords blazing all over the place. There is at least one thing that makes these achievements a little easier, and that's the checkpoints you have in the boss fights. So long as you finish one part damageless, when you move on to the next checkpoint, you can just reload and start from that phase of the fight. For phase 1 of Mistral here, the tripods are the most annoying obstacle due to the sheer number of enemies you have to worry about. Spend too much time focusing on Mistral and you'll get a nice pack on the back from one of them. Funnily enough, our best tip is to go running around sword blazing with the ninja run early on. If she's blocking, then she's not attacking while you clear out the ads. Just be careful not to smack one of the oil drums. It might take a little bit of practice, but just keep her on the defensive, and at around 70% health, you'll score a checkpoint and phase 2 of the fight. With the narrower space and more whip-like attacks to deal with, the timing for parrying is a little bit harder to place, and you've got less mobility to work with. It's this phase which really made us miss having the Fox Blade to effortlessly cleave through the tripods. Honestly, it's safest here to just keep the polearm intact, then learn when you need to parry either 4 or 5 times in a row with her whip attacks. After another 30% damage, you'll be done with the most annoying phase and get to move on to the most difficult phase. There's more explosive barrels, bigger AoE attacks, and still more tripod twats to bother with. But you are halfway through the fight. Honestly, our only real advice here is to stand still at the start. This way, she'll rush you and you can get a chance to perfect parry and shatter the polearm right off the bat. From there, get her launched into the air and away from the geckos so she can't do
do more damage to you. If she ever tries to pelt you with balls, just run right underneath her and you'll never have to worry about getting hit. Funnily enough, those explosive barrels can actually do damage to her too, so if she ever starts spinning all over the place, try and stay towards the middle of the arena and lure her towards any barrels. We managed to do this accidentally, but that last lick of damage was all we needed to finish her off. It might have taken over half an hour and far more resets than we could count, but we finally got to put the Prodigal Murderer on ice. For finding all of the MIBs and half of the data storages, the wooden sword and HF machete become available for purchase, along with L'étranger again too. But we'll need a lot more BP for those and their upgrades. All those busted balls wasted. But we can skip over the next 4 and a bit hours, since that's just going through Mexico and making our way back to World Marshal's front door. Once we're here, we get to work on our next achievement, taking down Monsoon without so much as a scratch. This fight was a tricky bastard just playing it on normal mode, but now with the parry timing just a hair tighter, every single miss stings that much more. What made it worse was the best method for damage this fight is using Bloodlust, the pincer blades Eddie uses, which we'd love to do if we had them! This fight was one which took us a lot of blood, sweat and tears to work through. It's not just the flurry of quick and unrelenting attacks which all need parrying, it's more than the fact that there are additional vehicles thrown at you which are now harder to slice through in time. It even goes beyond the smoke grenades, now doing the tiniest of chip damage to you. It's the fact that it doesn't matter how far you make it through this fight. The only checkpoint is right at the end, when the fight is a single QTE away from being done. Nearly every single other boss in the game has at least one checkpoint, but not Monsoon. You'll have to do better than just stringing together one phase after another. You do it all perfectly. At this point, we did have enough BP saved up to pick up the Foxblade again with a couple upgrades, but it doesn't really put that much of a dent in his health bar. This was absolutely perfect for us. Not only is restarting this fight incredibly quick, but this is the kind of challenge we actually really enjoy doing. When it's something we can actually see the improvements we're making and know what we did wrong, it's the kind of challenge we could sink hours into. Sure, we'll get frustrated, we'll get annoyed at ourselves, but every time we can see ourselves get further, it just fuels us to go again. Especially after seeing the difference the second strength enhancement on the Foxblade has on our damage output. Did it take us over 2.5 hours across 2 streams a weekend apart? Sure, but this was the fight that pushed us to really focus not just on slashing away, but how to squeeze as much damage out of every opportunity we had. And damn, did it feel good to clear through this fight. Yes! That is it! That is it! Motherfucker, you're at 10% and you can't go any lower. This isn't the checkpoint yet, but he's basically dead. I'm not even gonna risk it. I'm just gonna fucking run back and forth the whole time. This is my fucking victory lap here. It's almost fucking done. There's the checkpoint, baby! We're done! Fuck you, Monsoon! I was here! Do as I please, okay. I'm taking off everything. Taking off everything! Ah! Boosh. I'm calling that right there. Let's go. Whoa, hold on a sec. Go back. No, hold on. We did that fight damageless. You can clearly see we started with 120% health and it never lowered once. Where's my fucking damageless bonus? Well, you see, dear viewers, we screwed up. Again. Remember when we said this a moment ago? Especially after seeing the difference the second strength enhancement on the Foxblade has on our damage output. Well, this caused one small wrinkle. In the Mistral fight, we mentioned how the checkpoints give you a breaking point to reload to if you ever took damage. Whenever that checkpoint is made, the game is taking note of several important things. How long the fight's been going, your longest combo, things like that. This also happens to include checking if you've taken damage. That's why even though this fight took us over half an hour to get through, the time at the end of her fight only reads 4.5 minutes. It's only ever keeping that information from between the last checkpoint and when the fight is finished. Now, whenever you go into the customize menu, the game will make a hard save before it sends you there. That's so that when you come back to the main game, you'll be right where you left off. It's this save that caused the problem. Before going to upgrade the blade, we'd taken a wee bit of damage. Instead of restarting the fight at the checkpoint, we decided to go upgrade the Foxblade. This save now meant that the flag of has taken damage was recorded in the boss checkpoint alongside where we were in the level. See where this is going? Now, irrespective of how perfectly we played that fight for the next 2 hours, every time it would reload the checkpoint to the start of the boss fight, it would also carry over the has taken damage flag. Let's just grind in the ball busting room, then go bully Eddie to make ourselves feel better. Also, yes, this is the best way to do this fight. Might explain why the achievement Truly Human has a higher earn percentage than Genius Destroyer. After that enjoyable time at World Marshal, we pick up the last remaining data storage for analysis complete, and after several, botched attempts at a rescue, we're finally able to rescue the civilian from the 3 cyborgs and a grad without him becoming floor paced for humanitarian assistance. Kinda nice after going over 10 hours between achievements to getting 2 within the hour. This level was also where we were able to find the human gecko that we missed the first time. Remember though, we need to get all 5 in one run before that achievement will pop, and the last one's in Pakistan. And before we get to Pakistan, we've got the Sam fight to go through. Much like the Monsun fight, there are no checkpoints here, so you're gonna have to clear this fight in full. Unlike the Monsun fight though, this fight is actually a fun time. No gimmicks, no ads, no stupid hammerheads to chip damage into you, it's just a matter of skill. Having already savored this fight the first time around, we knew what to expect here, but even so, the parry windows changing was something that took some time to reacclimatize to. Sam's bread and butter in phase 1 are several variations of 4-hit combos, all of which you'll want to learn to recognize based off where his first and second strikes are aimed. If the first attack is a slow wind up, then a high swing from his left to right, then you'll know that it's 3 quick slashes followed by a pause before the 4th attack. This is a combo that leaves Sam's open when he pauses to show off his aura farming skills. What's awkward is that this attack pattern starts similarly to a couple others and can throw you off your timing. The main one being that if the wind up is cut slightly short and the swing has a downward tilt to it. This is likely 2 quick slashes followed by a pause as Sam sheaths and unsheaths the blade for 2 more attacks. This is not too bad of a combo since the beats for each attack are the same between the pairs, and there's a long recovery time as Sam stands back up for you to get some damage in. If Sam's first attack after the wind up is an upward slash, he'll follow this up quickly with another upward strike before 2 slower strikes that finish off with a thrust. This is a nice attack since rather than parrying that thrust, you can aim to go on the defensive offense. The slower 2 attacks give you more breathing room and a decent chance to get a hit or 2 in. The last combo is the only combo which starts from Sam's right and has a very similar pattern to the Ei Jutsu combo. The only difference here is that regardless of your timing on parrying the last 2 hits, Raiden will always counterattack. This might sound like that opens up a big window to fight back, but Sam will actually become more aggressive, and he is very good at quickly recovering with either wide-range single swings, kicks, or another combo. Sam also comes with several unblockable attacks, which are very telegraphed. The gap-closing thrust and slow spin are easily dodgeable, but if you should ever see him stance up and block with his yellow glowing sword, attacking Sam will initiate a cool scene of him parrying you, followed by beating the shit out of you. Most of your resets are going to be in this first phase while you get to grips with recognizing these patterns and learning just how much damage you can get away with. Our tip is just don't get greedy. Not every attack Raiden does can be cancelled into a block or dodge, so keep it to just a couple of hits rather than a full combo of your own. Actually, talking about combos, the best choice we suggest for you is Triangle Square for the Tornado Slash. Not only is this a combo that outputs great damage, but it's also short enough that you don't have to worry about not being able to block the clapback. You can also use the advanced speedrunner technique and quickly tap into blade mode right as you land from the slash. This cancels the animation instantly, meaning you can start up another slash right after and keep chaining damage. You can also use this after you parry. Less so for damage, but more to get a better read on what Sam's next move is. If you see he's winding up an attack, then you know to stay on the defensive. The other option is treat Sam like we treated Eddie. Double tapping forward and square will perform an upwards kick that can send enemies sky high. It's not guaranteed to throw Sam up, but it's a fairly spammable attack, so you'll have plenty of chances to launch him. Once he's airborne, Sam is completely exposed to whatever damage you want to dish out, which sadly is best done through just burning through your entire fuel cell bar with blade mode slashes. Once Sam is low enough, he'll go for a charging slash that initiates that blade mode to knock the sword away. If you're only interested in finishing this fight damageless, it's actually best to not knock away the sword and just keep chipping away at Sam's health. Since Sam is trying to move the fight onto phase 2, this attack that's easily blockable will become his most common from now on. For those who want a bit more of a challenge, by all means, feel free to take Sam's toy away and move on to phase 2. While Sam loses his range, he's just as deadly here with strong gap closing options at very fast speeds. Just remember to never slide into him, since he can flip you easier than a burger for trying that cheese on him. Same with the jumping dive. Just keep your combos short and use your little range advantage to your... well, to your advantage. Phase 3 has some good news and some bad news. The good news is there are only 2 new attacks here, 3 back-to-back charge slashes and yeeting a bunch of rocks at you, both of which are easily telegraphed and easy to deal with, provided you've got some space to work with. The bad news is Phase 3 is where everything you've learnt up until now means diddly squint. Switching up his attack patterns on the fly to catch your timing off guard and more relentlessly attacking you with these alternating combos means that finding time to get a hit in yourself can be all the harder. Assuming, of course, he's not just jumping around you unable to be hit. There's no more advice here, just put everything you've learned to good use. The only thing we can say is to try and keep the sun to your back. While it makes for a beautifully cinematic fight scene, it also makes trying to spot the red flashes on Sam's attacks that much harder. Oh, and don't forget to check all the codec calls between phases and not to save after you take damage. Wouldn't want to waste another 80 minutes getting chosen by history.
I gotta relearn all this shit now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Damn, we did that so early, he didn't even start the chorus yet. I'm really sad now. There we go. Keep on him. Yeah, look at that. He didn't even fucking do anything there. Yeah. Oh, and he's phased through the rock. Shit, where'd he go? Shit, he's in the rock. I can't find him. Oh god, he can phase through rock. He's mastered the tunnel effect. Oh my god, and he just deleted the rock. Oh, now I really hope this is the run that does it, because if it is, then I get to put that in the video. Okay. Calm it down, calm it down, calm it down. Uh-oh. What the fuck was that? I don't think I've ever seen him do that before. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Nice. Yes! I get to keep that in the video! Let's go! Let's go!
Whew, that was a good fight. Again, doing this with NG plus weapons and stats is the best way to tip things in your favor, but honestly, this was the far more fun way. Guess it was a good thing we screwed up and wasted those 11 hours after all. With Sam out of the way, it's just RO7 with 2 boss fights and the rest of our collectibles to pick up. We were rather nervous here, since it's around this time that many people who've gotten Amateur Radio Operator start to bring up that this is when the achievement popped. Let's just hope we haven't missed too many of those codec calls. There's also the last humanoid gecko to pick up, which didn't pop any achievement. That's fine though, it's probably like all the other collectible achievements, which pop at the end of the level. We've just been showing them pop up when we collect the last of each of the collectibles, since it looks better for the video. You know, like when we picked up the last of the arms to show that we're a big fan of lefties, or the last VR mission for analysis complete. All that's left to do now is clear out the Excelsus and finish off the fight against Armstrong. And would you look at that? The last codec call at the start of the Excelsus fight also happens to be the last one we needed for Amateur Radio Operator. Kind of a good thing it popped now too. Out of all the calls we had written down, we missed only 37 up till now. And if it didn't pop now, there were only 12 more chances for it to do so. At least that's one less thing for us to worry about. Though, actually, there are 2 less things to worry about, since even though it's Armstrong piloting the Excelsus, we don't have to worry about doing this fight damageless yet. It's only the actual fight against Armstrong himself that counts. And hey, good news! It's another one of those fights with checkpoints in it, so this should be a simple walk in the park. Okay, so we already took damage right as a cutscene was starting on the first attempt, so let's just reset, right? Well, no. Since we're still going for tearing away the human disguise, we need to just finish up this run and make sure that it's still active. Since the rest of this run has no pressure on it though, we'll use it to get a little practice in with the rest of the fight. After one quick prostate exam, we check at the end of the level and there's no achievement popping. Okay, so how did we screw this one up? We've gotten all 5 geckos in a single story run. We replayed this chapter to pick up the VR mission we accidentally missed right before the mistrial cutscene and couldn't go back for it. Yeah, when we said we replayed this chapter, we didn't mean we replayed the game up till that point. We meant we went into chapter select and just replayed it, completely forgetting that you can't do that to earn this achievement! So for the 3rd time this run, we've managed to screw something up, wasting another 18 hours trying to get this achievement. And we have to sit through the credits again. Actually, twice, because we closed the game without saving, and the items that unlock don't save unless you save after watching the credits. To let off some steam before we try and deal with Armstrong, there are still 2 more enemy-specific achievements left. The bigger they are, and Demilitarized Zone. Those are for the big sword and big hammer cyborg, which happen to litter the hangar of this final level. Given our fancy new unlocks of the Infinite Fuel Cell Wig B and the Murasama, these enemies are now easier than paper to slice to bits. It's only about another 8 minutes of reloading the second checkpoint before we've taken out 100 big sword cyborgs for the bigger they are, and another 30 for Demilitarized Zone, since there are so few hammer guys you fight throughout story mode. Okay, now we're done screwing up just about everything we could possibly screw up, let's deal with the Armstrong fight. Remember, there's checkpoints between phases, and we've had a practice run, so this won't be that bad. So as it turns out, the fact this boss fight has multiple checkpoints is actually one of the worst possible things it could have. And it's for one reason and one reason only. When Raiden is fighting barehanded, with the HP we have, getting hit once will send us into the cutscene where he does the funny punching meme. However, that cutscene also comes with a checkpoint. The first phase, where it's just whacking him with our sword? Pretty simple, just slap him till the cutscene plays. The final phase? Sure, it's got its moments, but it's doable after everything we've been through. But that barehanded middle phase is what made this fight take so long to do. We know from Monsoon, if a checkpoint or save is made after you've taken damage, you will always have that flag on your results screen, even if your health resets. So that means having to restart the whole fight over again, which from Armstrong means restarting the whole level over again, which means going back out to the title screen, chapter selecting R07, skipping multiple cutscenes, mashing through 3 normal enemy fights, and then doing the entire Excelsis fight again. People say Silksong has some painful boss run backs. Oh, we'd happily do the Grohl run back in Bilewater over this 8 to 10 minutes of level replaying. But wait, it gets worse! Since that swordless phase always ends with Raiden doing the mean punching, that means he's got to get blasted back to trigger the cutscene, right? But how are we supposed to have that happen without taking any damage? Well, Platinum Games thought of that. All you have to do is run around and wait him out for 2 minutes. Oh, and also, you can't parry anything here, as it'll still do damage to you like in the Excelsis fight. Keep in mind, Armstrong has huge AoE moves and unblockables you're hoping he doesn't do. But he gets some new special moves in hard and above difficulties where he outright speed blitzes you with a kick. You can't outrun this move like any of the others either. The only way to deal with this is to jump over it to avoid it. And remember, getting hit once will send us into that cutscene. But the real kicker to this? That new move that Armstrong does is just before doing the big AoE that moves you on to the next phase. Now, as painful as it was grinding the Monsoon fight for 2.5 hours, every reset was quick and simple. Literally, just a couple button presses, and it takes seconds to do. We'll be generous and say that the first time that turned into a practice run didn't count, so we started this around the 30-hour mark after all that cyborg grinding. Despite only taking 2 hours, this was nothing short of soul-crushing. And only because of that one fucking kick, which we had a second to understand and no feedback on what we did wrong. Not to belabor the point and devalue our attempts to stress how painful this was, but our time spent on phase 3 was 2 minutes and done in 1 attempt. Phase 2 was where the rest of the time was spent. Even after all our practice against Excelsis to shave off as much time as possible, it was more time trying to get back to the Armstrong fight than the actual Armstrong fight itself. The only, and we do mean only, saving grace we found was grabbing the extra 10% health from this level off stream, since we hoped that maybe, just maybe, that might give us enough HP to not instantly trigger the cutscene checkpoint. It was a Hail Mary guess, and as if by some miracle of gods, that happened to work. Would have been nice to think of that 2 hours earlier, but whatever. After all our hard work, we finally grabbed the politics of silencing foes with our own 2 hands. That would be where this part of the video ends. ends, but you know we've got one last fight with Monsun to do. And for finishing R00 on very hard, you also earn a fancy suit, so I guess we'll go do that Monsun fight and trivialize it by using all the secondary weapons that we've got available to us. Seriously, it took us 20 minutes to get to this fight and only 14 minutes over 4 attempts to earn Genius Destroyer. And since we're in a cleanup mood, let's run through several easy fights with the wooden sword to get the no-kill bonus. The fights have to specifically be ones that you get a rank for, so redoing the start of R05 is the fastest way to prove you're a lover, not a fighter. Wonderful! Now we've only got 5 achievements left to go. It should be 4, but whatever, it's still just 10% left. With that Revengeance difficulty run looming ever closer, our experience of a hard difficulty run showed us one immutable fact. Holy fuck, we are not ready.
Perhaps a little more practice wouldn't hurt.
Guess it's a good thing there just so happens to be a nice bite-sized chunk of things we can do in order to get some practice in. All those data terminals we've been fighting throughout the game are VR missions. There's the 20 of those along with the 5 tutorial ones, which thankfully don't matter here. In order for us to pick up 3 of the 5 remaining achievements, we'll need to finish all of these at the highest rank. There are 2 main categories of mission here: eliminate all the enemies and get to the waypoint, with a couple variations to spice things up. Since we're incredibly stubborn, we plan to get the top ranking of each mission before moving on. It just makes sense that way. The difficulty on these is kind of all over the place, but you'll always have the same gear, which is your base HP, FC, blade, and body, so no cheesing this with infinite fuel, unfortunately. You will have whatever skills and secondary weapons you've unlocked too, but their use is usually fairly limited to precise situations. But that's enough of the preamble. We'll break down our time with each of these missions and any advice we have for them. Not every one was a struggle, but that's not to say that they were all a virtual breeze either. Guess we better start with mission 1. Eliminate all enemies in under 40 seconds. While this mission is simple on the surface, you can't get complacent. The timing here is very tight, and you aren't here to get fancy, you just need to find the perfectly fast kills. No amount of us bashing our heads against this wall would break it. Honestly, we were getting flashbacks to Rude Awakening as we watched over half an hour pass by to restart after restart, even when we knew what to do via watching Iconoclast do it. The victory we cinched was by just 2/100ths of a second. Here's how we did it. Start off by sliding into the first wave of 3 easy cyborgs to initiate a blade mode sequence. Use it to take out all 3 of them in one go. If you don't get all of them in a couple of swings, reset. Now run back to put space between you and the gecko. Make sure to parry any missiles it fires and hope that it charges you so you can parry it. If it doesn't, reset. After parrying the gecko, wait for the 2 melee cyborgs to come close before executing the gecko and using the blade mode to hit the cyborgs in the process. Do not Zandatsu anyone. If you don't get all 3 kills in that blade mode, reset. Now with the polearm equipped, rush the 2 ranged cyborgs remaining to get FC back and blade mode them as quick as you can. If you've done that all fast enough, you'll get the run you need. Come on! That's good enough! Come on! Yes! Please, 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 please! 39.56, 39.56, 39.56. Was it 39.59? 39.96, something like that? Come on, please. Yes! By .02! Woohoo! Mission 2. Eliminate all enemies via stealth kills in under 40 seconds. While it looks like there are only 4 enemies here, there are actually 5, since one is tucked away where you can't see it at the very start. It's a bit cheeky, but that'll only ever get you once. The best time saver here is to just make sure you tap R2 to end the stealth kill blade mode as soon as possible. That, and you have plenty of time, so just wait on that hidden guy so you don't get spotted. There's really not much more to break down here. First, stab the guy in front of you, then stab the guy higher up in front of you, then stab the guy down below in front of you, then stab the guy highest up in front of you, then drop down to find the last guy who's probably in front of you. There we go. Come on, first try! Hey! First try! Of killing all 5. Oh, I like that one. Like we said, the difficulty's all over the fucking shop here, and nothing shows that better than these first 3 missions. Mission 3. Arrive at the waypoint in under 15 seconds. Just watch. It's quite the distance. I can make it though. Oh, you're shitting me. No, go away. Okay, you, to you, through you, through you. I don't know what the timer is for this, but how did I do? How'd I do? Is it 40 seconds? Please be 40 seconds, so I got that first try. Did I? 13 seconds. What? What? What was it?
So the whole using the VR missions to practice thing we wrote might not really have been happening so far, but at least mission 4 does help. Eliminate all enemies via Zandatsu in under a minute. This one may as well just say parry counter everything and get a Zandatsu. It's only 3 enemies you'll face one at a time, and you'll have had enough practice with the gecko in mission 1 to do that without even trying. Assuming they actually charge you. It's only the big sword guy who's a bit of a bastard, since you'll have to perfect parry them 4 times in a row. But hey, that's why we said this was practice.
There we go. Okay, I remembered it. He has to put the sword down and then start swinging. Got it. That's fine. That's it. That's done. Come on. Come on. Under a minute. There we go. There we go! Boosh. First try. Well, ish.
Oh boy, it's time for one of the 3 missions we actually remember doing after this grind. While mission 18 might be the first thing that autofills in a search bar when you go looking these up, this is the one that will make you never want to use a sub-weapon ever again. And for good reason. Mission 5. Eliminate all enemies with the sub-weapon in under 90 seconds. Fuck VR Mission 5. All the cyborgs hate VR Mission 5. We have no real advice here. This is just one of those aim better missions. You're just gonna have to start trusting where you throw and using the kill pop-ups to double check if you've actually got the shot you needed. Thankfully, we'll leave the rest of the breakdown to us when we actually did it.
We have done it. Literally, I just needed to aim slightly differently, and I don't know how. That should kill both. Alright, this one's the easy one. Just yeet there. Alright, this one is the painful one, because they're moving in the same direction as I'm fucking throwing, which means I have to have a fun little move around like that. That's gonna hit most of those. That hits most of those. That should clear out that. This little fucker here is somewhere like there. Oh, come on! What do you mean you leave one? Good, 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 good. Yeet. One there. Yeet one there. That'll kill. Yeet one there. That might kill. Nope. Didn't, but that's okay. That will. Come on. That's not good enough. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. I yeeted one and I don't know how I hit it. Oh, that fucking fadeaway shot. What the fuck? Fuck that mission.
Mission 6 teaches us one rather useful trick with any mission that requires us to not be seen. The yellow alert stage is actually still fine to proc and in some instances is required. It'll take too long to wait on the guard patrols here, but if you can bait them all into one spot, then you can loop around them. This was a nice short little puzzle to work out.
I can't go straight forward. Forward doesn't work. If I go to the right, I'm gonna get seen by this guy, aren't I? Yeah. Okay. Oh my god, that works. Never mind, figured it out. I have to make them get over there sooner. Figured it out. Technically, first recorded run, that's a first try.
Mission 7 looks daunting at first with its 4-minute time goal, but genuinely, this is one of the more free-flowing fights. Just make good use of your polearm to get some fuel back when you need it and parry the hell out of everything. We literally did this first try. I don't know what else to tell you, but it is reassuring to feel like we're getting better at these bigger fights.
Come on, let that be all of them and let me just first try that. Let me just first try that! Woo! I first tried a combat one! Let's fucking go! I don't know how I did that. What the fuck?
As with any of the stealth kill missions, Mission 8 is a rather fun puzzle to figure out not only where the enemies are, but also when you can find any openings. 50 seconds isn't much, but starting off by going right and then all the way up is a good idea.
Okay, that's it. 3, 2, there we go! It's like a second extra. Told you we'd shave off 2 seconds. I do like how these missions are basically just don't think, just kill, which is kind of like what we're trying to avoid with Raiden. Ah well.
Mission 9 is a bit of an arse since you'll need the Sai equipped from the start, so it's advisable to just do one run and then you'll have it there every time you reset. As for the big shortcuts to make it through in under 20 seconds, this mission feels honestly like it's just RNG to get through the damn corridor of purified fuck you. If the RPGs don't blast you, it's the tripods holding you in place. Or both! The best advice we have is to hop like a damn madman since that's the fastest way to move.
Stop. Ah, it's ingrained in my fucking head now. Okay. Okay. Get under there. Wow. I did it! Somehow. What did I do differently? I genuinely don't know what I did differently. I think I jumped at one point when I didn't jump before, but there we go.
Ah, another nice Zandatsu only kill goal for mission 10. The good news, all 9 enemies you have to kill are basically cyborgs, so you can just walk up and do your thing. The bad news is there's also a bunch of platforming to do between the enemies, which isn't the best to try and do given the Zandatsu camera. But hey, if you can aim it, the size is a very good gap closer for some of those far off enemies. It's a dead simple mission, which is why we hate ourselves for the fact this took over 20 minutes to get done.
Take that. Not bad. Under 7. Under 13. No, but under 14, so that's still fine. Give me that. The camera's now facing wildly in a weird direction, but that's okay. Like, it always seems to place me in a slightly off angle. Give me that. How the what? How are they not spawned yet? Give me that. I just have to risk it. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. Come on, let that be the last one. Let that be the last one. I knew that was the last one. And I knew I had so much time to spare. Oh. I don't like that one.
Mission 11 is where you get to see the real bullshit start to creep in. Honestly, I don't think anything sums up this better than our live reaction, so...
Okay. What? What the fuck? What? What?
Yeah, some real bullshit creeping in. Good luck figuring that shit out on your own.
No, let's not restart. Climb up there. Right. Okay, there we go. And done! 25 was it, so that's 24.64. 24.64? Come on, come on, come on! Don't be 20 seconds. If it's 20 seconds, I'm gonna cry.
Mission 12 did get us worried when we saw it was defeating enemies with sub-weapons again, and the time limit was 2.5 minutes. Then we saw it was all with homing missiles, and everything became a fair bit easier. Just remember to double tap the sliders, and when you get to the final wave, just aim at whoever is closest and try to keep them stun locked.
Right, grab a couple of fucking stingers. Equip the fucking stingers. Okay, these homing missiles do a really good job if you can time them well. Here we are. Okay, good. They spawn about here-ish, don't they? Oh, I'm out of rockets. That ain't a good sign. No, it's a good sign. Because now, I just stand here-ish, and all of these spawn. This is a good spot for them, actually, because we're really close to them here. I'm just going to constantly focus the one that is closest. Why are there like 4 of you all over there at once? Keep targeting. That one there is stuck, which is great. One more, ought to do it. 1 or 2 more. There we go. That's all of them. That's all of them. It's not all of them. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yes! 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 By 0.3! By 0.3! Fuck you! Wow, no. Oh, sorry. By 0.88. I thought it was that was worse than that. But that's fine. There we go. Are you starting to get the hang of these missions? Starting to treat them more like a fun little puzzle to work out? Well, stop having fun. It's time for an entire mission of aerial enemies. Genuinely, this mission was an absolute mess, and the only advice we have is to use the side to reach the sliders and then blade mode them in one swing like you did with mission 10. You probably could hit the hammerheads with a rocket to bring them to ground level, but that assumes you'll have a second to aim the rocket without being bukakied with missiles. If you can make it past the first phase, you'll likely make it through without much trouble. You'll just hate every second of it because the aerial combat still sucks balls. Okay, right. That's those dealt with. Where's the next fucking wave of them? There's gonna be a next wave of them. I fucking knew it! Oh my fucking god, there's a cunt in helicopter as well. Fuck me. Oh, there's 2 hammerheads! What is wrong with you guys? Who hurt you? Seriously, someone hurt you guys. And I need to know. What happened? Where's that one? No, stop targeting that one and target the one that's in front of you, Raiden, you doofus! Right, okay, that's 1. Okay, there we go. Jesus, that was terrible. Yeah, it's not even, that's not even a time on the board. What? What do you mean that's a time on the board and it's first? With this compact maze-like area with a fair few enemies roaming around in it, you'll end up failing this mission less often from not hitting the time, but more so from getting spotted by something you swear shouldn't be able to see you from where they are. That said, figuring out a route through all of them was actually rather fun. Plus, the time limit might seem tight, but there's a decent bit of wiggle room to experiment with finding out that route. Good luck trying to describe it though. With 3 levels to this map, and the routes of the enemies, and all the twists and turns you can take, you're better off just watching and working it out for yourself. Run to you, run to you, run to you, run to you, drop down on you. Okay. Run, 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 run. Stab him in the face! Where do you run through? Which way do you go? Which way do you go? Which way do you go? You go that way, you go that way. Perfect. I can stab that in the chest. Hell yeah! I think we did it. I'm pretty sure we did it, because I think it was 130 on that. And we did it in 107. Yeah, we're just that good. So now we know that the waypoint missions are hiding invisible platforms, we were already looking out for them in mission 15. However, we can actually ignore that entire section and just zip over using the Psy. With all that time you've just saved, you'll be able to fritter it all away on the rocket launchers and the fucking grad that's here. All we can say is hope that the AI decides not to pull the trigger on firing those rockets like you did with us during our first place run. Okay, you need to make the jump. There we go. Perfect. Jump around you. Jump around you. No. No missiles. No missiles. No missiles! Woo! Oh. 4 more? Well, technically 5 more to go. Now, as terrible as the turret section in the main game was, the VR mission turret section is kinda okay. Obviously, the first thing we tried was dealing with the waves without using the turret, but while the early waves were okay, 5 Hammer Bros and a grad? Yeah, just use the turret. This only took us 2 tries, since that first run gave us a heads up on every enemy spawn. Also, if you want to set up the turret's aim faster, just stop firing and this will help you turn faster. You also won't be doing any damage to enemies, so only really do this before a next wave spawns. Okay, I'll admit, the turret was actually a little bit faster than doing it the other way. Just a smidge faster. Alright, I was experimenting. Because now that I know what's here, I can better deal with it. Oh, stop this, you little shit. I hate the grad movement. I need you to fall. Go, 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 go. Ah, there we go. And done. Oh, that's a close-up on Ryden's face I didn't know I needed. Okay, but hey, look at that. We did that a hell of a lot quicker. God damn it, that would have been first try. Okay, we've had our ups and downs so far, had some fun learning how to get through these missions. Now it's time for the game to extend a firm handshake, spit in your face, then kick you in the nuts after stealing your wallet. Welcome to the final 4 missions. Welcome to hell. First up is mission 17. Eliminate every enemy with the sub-weapons littering the place. This time you're given a choice from either grenades or the homing rockets. If you chose the rockets, you picked wrong, stupid! Also your sword? Yeah, it's currently glued to your back, so no matter how close these enemies get or however they try to attack you, you can't parry shit. The reason why we suggest using the grenades is that the explosion doesn't affect Raiden, so you can quickly tap L2 to lob out a grenade that explodes on contact with any enemy. Well, that fixes up the waves in the first location. The second location is a lot less finesse and more flinging handfuls of grenades hoping they happen to hit the bastards here. You've got more tripods running around in circles and plenty of cyborgs trying to put you head down arse up with rockets. If you can clear out the rest of the cyborgs here, taking a moment to fire the rocket at the floor when the tripods are close by happens to work out quite nicely. It's a little free flow here, so you just kinda have to adapt on the fly. If you should be lucky enough to make it through all this, you'll get to have a fun time dealing with more tripods, 2 raptors, and a fucking gecko. Oh, and remember, you're rocking base HP, and there's no way to replenish it. Not to mention trying to swap your sub-weapon on the fly whilst keeping the damn camera where you want it rather than where the game wants to is a fucking mess. This is also one of the few missions where we actually have nothing good to say about it. There's no puzzle here, it's just bashing your head into a concussed state. Hopefully when you come to, this mission will be over and you won't have any memories of trying to finish this in under 3.5 minutes. If I run straight at the guy, sometimes he fires, sometimes he doesn't. I don't know what I'm doing differently, and there is no feedback from the game as to what I'm doing differently. Just, I'm doing something wrong, apparently. Okay, that went well. Yep. Come on. Nice. That everything? That's everything, right? Oh yeah, that's everything. Oh, I don't have any grenades. That's great. That's great. Also, as well, you have to wait on fucking changing your sub-weapon, which is fun. There we are. Nice. Right. I have about a minute and a half to do this. Oh, game! No! Not the fucking missiles! Literally, just fucking stop. Okay, that's really nice. Don't stop doing that. Start fighting each other? I'd like that. Okay, not that one. This one that's right in front of me. There's a fucking jump scare and a half. That could be it. That's it. Wow, that's a hell of a good time. Nope. Almost forgot about you. Jesus Christ. If that killed me, if that had killed me, I was going to be pissed. Oh! Okay. New tech unlocked. Let the enemies fight each other unintentionally. That better be first. Damn right that's first!
But now it's time for the mission that those in the know have been waiting for. The mission that when you look up MGRR VR missions is the first one to pop up. Virtual mission number 18. Eliminate all enemies in under 10 minutes. The reason this is the mission that ruins people is because there's one sneaky thing the game does that it doesn't tell you about. It changes the difficulty you're playing on to Revengeance. This is where the parry window is at its shortest and every hit from an enemy is viable to obliterate your health bar, if not outright one-shot you. And of course, enemies are tankier, so they'll be around for longer, meaning there's more chances for them to turn you into floor paste. This is all to try and promote the core mechanic of parrying. If you get a perfect parry and counter-strike off, you are almost guaranteed to take out that enemy or get an execute prompt to finish them off. This is what you'll have to do for pretty much every enemy that isn't a tripod. And since the game suddenly whacked the difficulty up to Revengeance, it gaslights you into thinking that you suddenly just fucking suck at the game and can't parry for shit. Remember, this is the difficulty that unlocks after you've already played a full run-through of the game on hard. You're supposed to have stronger weapons and a bigger health pool to compensate for the enemy changes. You don't get that here. Looking at guides or tips, the best advice given is to game the system and keep the camera looking away from any enemies. Doing this tends to pacify their AI, leaving you with less enemy attacks to have to worry about as they close the gap to get on screen. The downside of this is that any attack winding up to slap you before you get the camera off them will still be coming your way, and now you have no chance of seeing it coming. One thing we did find was that if you do get a parry counterattack off, should you hit multiple enemies with that swing, all of them will be taking that amped up damage, so just get lucky. There are 5 waves of enemies here, and the worst wave by far is the 3rd wave. It's bad enough trying to deal with 2 heavily armored hammer cyborgs since they barely stagger and have mostly unparryable attacks, but the real problem is the Fenrir since it's sporting a rather fetching mounted railgun, an attack that you cannot parry. A ranged attack that you cannot parry. A ranged attack that you cannot parry, which does enough damage to do 75% of your health and tracks your position so there's no chance to dodge. Yeah, you've got to kill the dog first. This mission would almost be a fun test of skill, but Platinum decided the gimmick of just throw in a bunch of tripods from the Mistral fight was a fitting addition to 4 of the 5 waves of enemies. Hell, the 4th wave is nothing but tripods. These little fucks are just so aggravating. Not only can the camera decide that they're obviously the most important thing to be looking at, not only are they now going to attempt to grab you more often, which basically spells an end to the entire run, but they can even eat your parries with some inconsequential attack that now means you're eating a face full of one-shot attacks. That, and if it told you that this would be on Revengeance difficulty. From start to finish, all 20 VR missions took us about 7 hours. So when we say that over 2 full hours of that were on this mission alone, yeah, this one is a fucking mentality breaker. But we've spent over 60 hours beating Hi-Fi Rush and its hardest difficulty. We've grinded our way up 99 bond levels in Persona 5 Strikers. We've even tortured ourselves with the time trials in Crash 4. And if we can spend 2 hours on a single level there, we can do so here. So just like every other mission, let's go over how we did it. The first wave started causing us a lot of hassle trying to hope the AI on the Gecko would lead with a charge. If it didn't, we'd end up trying to improvise around all the tripods, and it never really worked out. Instead, having the pincers equipped and holding the aerial move will end up with the tripods all gathering around you, as well as the Gecko. When you let the attack rip, you'll demolish all of the tripods and be left with a more manageable 1v1. Just make sure you're ready to parry whatever attack is coming, since the armor from the pincer attack charges won't help too much. Now you have plenty of space to wait out the charge attack and can heal up any damage with the Zandatsu. But don't let your foot off the gas yet, it's only going to get harder from here. From your initial starting position, the next group of 2 Mastiffs and several Tripods will spawn on your right side.
Head over that way and try to wind up any kind of pincer attack you can. If you're lucky, both the Mastiffs will be close enough to take some damage, but you'll also be in the perfect position to perfect parry one of their attacks. The execution animation is what really makes this wave a lot easier, since spinning one of these f***ers around deals a ton of free AoE damage. It should clear out most of the remaining enemies, including the other Mastiff. Just make sure you grab that juicy fuel cell refresh, since you are gonna need it for the toughest phase of the entire fight. The double hammer railgun Fenrir combo spawn back where you started this fight. If you've got time, charge up a pincer attack either on the ground or in the air to punch as much damage in as possible. You're ideally aiming for the Fenrir, since that's the priority. Its high mobility, fast attacks, and long range damage are just too dangerous to be left to their own devices. We got incredibly lucky after being put in a corner and only just got out with any health. Honestly, this phase should have destroyed us, but apparently being in the air when the railgun is firing means it'll miss you. Instead, it ended up happening to hit the two hammers and took them out, leaving us with just a 1v1. And when it was down to that, it was all about the parries. If you can get the enemies to hit each other, then there is a possible strategy there, but we'd never really rely on it happening. The fourth wave is just 3 tripods. Don't get fancy here. Just ninja run like it's the Mistral fight and make sure to equip the Sai. You will need it for the final wave, a lone grad. With a fully charged Sai, you can keep this bastard stun locked while you slash away at it. Again, no need to get fancy here, but keep on point with making sure it's stunned. It should be said though, the first time we made it to the grad, that was the run we run, and there was plenty of time to spare. So don't panic, just keep calm and keep slashing away at it. Yes! Oh, fuck you! Fuck that! Woo! Why was the third the hardest one there? What the hell? Good news for Mission 19 is that it's not on Revengeance difficulty. The bad news is that now you've got to Zandatsu every single enemy, which wouldn't be so bad if that didn't involve packs of heavily armored cyborgs and a damn Fenrir. Or 4 Fenrirs all at once. Don't get us wrong, it's definitely a step down in difficulty, but anything would be compared to 18. Why this gets annoying is just gauging your damage output. If you accidentally do too much damage and an enemy dies without you stealing their chest computer, then you're going back to the start. As a result, we spent far too long playing painfully timid and getting demolished for our troubles. Rather than any tip or trick for this mission, we'll just show you the one piece of advice you'll ever need to know for this mission. There's a glitch where you start the mission, run to the left and jump up and off, then you respawn, you'll be invincible and can't get hit. Oh, okay. I'll do that. I'm taking that. F this. Am I invincible? Damage me, bitch! I'm invincible! Okay, that makes my life a hell of a lot easier. Is it cheap and devaluing the entire challenge of the mission? Yes. Do we care? Fuck no. We spent 3 hours on these 2 damn missions alone, so we'll take all the advantages we can get. Besides, you've still got to worry about the whole accidentally killing an enemy without Zandatsuing thing, or missing the spot like a moron. There we go, right? Uh-oh. Gotcha. That better be it. I don't care if that took 6.5 minutes, it's done! I am so glad there is a glitch in that level. We took all the damage that we shouldn't have taken in Mission 18 and just put it on Mission 19. No damage! Yippee! So if VR Mission 18 took over 2 hours and came down to a flash of luck we could capitalize on, and VR Mission 19 an hour to get through by becoming invincible via a slight oversight, what the hell is the last sneaking mission gonna be? Some near incomprehensible maze to stealth through with hundreds of roaming enemies to have to avoid? A stealth assassination with only one possible solution and the tightest timing we've seen yet? No, it's a simple reach the waypoint unseen mission. With a 20-second time limit and a first look at this level, that sounds like it's going to be a nightmare to unpick and thread through this mess. In reality, there's only a few possible options you've got, so it took all of about 5 minutes to figure out a path and about half of that to actually pull it off. Kind of anticlimactic after the last 2. Oh well. Yeah. Lot of enemies here. Okay. Aha! Okay, where the fuck am I? Just go around you. And that's it, baby! Woo! That right there should be... Hey! There it is! Hey! Virtually flawless and VR master. Let's go! So just like that, we've got only 3 achievements left to go for, now that we've completed and mastered every VR mission. The nice thing is that these missions did give us a bunch of BP for us to spend on all the goodies in the customized menu. There are even 3 more bodies to get for completing 6, 10 and all 20 missions, along with the new sword for getting first rank in all the missions. It's a bit more PP than we've got right now, but thankfully we've got a couple ways to grind out the remaining amount we need. Since we still need to get all the humanoid geckos in story mode, let's just do an entire playthrough on easy mode in under 2 hours. Yeah, that's right. With all this gear on easy mode, we can charge through the entire game in less time than it took us to get through mission 18. At least we know now that tearing away the human disguise pops as soon as you take out the last one. And while that doesn't quite get us all the BP we need, that's nothing another hour or so in the ball busting room won't fix. With the last of the weapons and every upgrade purchased, we've cleared out the stocks and can proudly say, Ich liebe Kapitalismus, which also happens to be our penultimate achievement, meaning we can waste no more time here. Ready or not, it's time for a perfect Revengeance run. Complete story mode on Revengeance difficulty with all S rankings. That's all that's left for us to do. With enemy health, damage, and aggression at their peak and the parry window at its sharpest, the prelude of VR Mission 18 means we know that fights are going to be an uphill battle, especially when we're fighting stronger enemies much earlier on. That's not even including the stipulations on this Revengeance run. All S rankings doesn't just mean you need to S rank for the final score on the chapter, we'll have to S rank every single ranked fight. And in classic Platinum Games fashion, some of these fights aren't even fights you'll find by just completing the chapters. You're gonna have to go out of your way to find these fights. As for S ranking these fights, that comes down to the breakdown at the end of each ranked fight. There are 6 categories that can give you points, and every fight will have a set value for an S rank. You can also get additional bonus points for skillful play, the biggest one being a 2,000 point no damage bonus. As you can see by the boss fight values alone, needing 10,000 points out of a possible 12,000 does allow a little wiggle room, but that no damage bonus really isn't up for debate. Also, there's one other caveat that impacts the chapter rank. If you die, you are not getting an S rank. So with enemies and bosses able to demolish your health bar, you are on very thin ice. Since we know extensively from tearing away the human disguise, story mode means we cannot use the chapter select feature for this run either. If something goes wrong, we have to start the entire run over. Well, okay then. That's all that's left to do. Also, technically, you're supposed to unlock Revengeance not by doing just a hard mode playthrough, but also a very hard playthrough after unlocking that difficulty, but f it if we're doing another additional run, just use the damn Konami code to unlock it. To help us out a little bit, we're going to be shadowing the Stormbringer speedrun done by Dreadlegger, since this will make sure that we can see not only every ranked fight's requirement, but also exactly where they are. The last thing we want is to make it through an entire stage only to find out we missed a single non-optional fight. Now, there are some ways that we can avoid having to restart the entire run over and over if we screw up, and unlike the last time we screwed up a run by accidentally saving when we didn't mean to, this time we'll be intentionally saving in case we accidentally screw up. By making hard saves before every single fight in the game, and then making backup copies of those, we can just reload at any point if something goes wrong. We can even do this during the checkpoint in a boss fight too. Technically, if you're fast enough after a ranked fight, if you see that you weren't getting an S rank for it, you can reload from the last checkpoint, but that leaves the option to mess it up and lose the entire run. It's a safe and slow process, but it's a lot faster than playing the entire game over. This also means that had we known about it earlier, the entire section of the Armstrong fight we suffered through in the hard mode run could have used this same method. We didn't have to do a 10-minute run back, we could have had just a minute of copying a backup save and loading that. Moving on before we make ourselves cry, things should also be a little easier than the first time we had to deal with Revengeance difficulty. With nearly a full health bar and the Murasama fully upgraded along with unlimited Ripper mode, we should be able to match up pretty well on the damage output. Since we're also aiming to never take damage, there's also no harm in us using the red custom body. The downside of taking more damage or using more fuel are nullified entirely here with our strategy and using the Infinity Wig B. And it doesn't matter how many tries or reloads it takes, every fight we make it through, every enemy cut down, every boss beaten is one step out of 54 closer to earning that perfect run. It may not be pretty, but I guess it just has to be this way.
Welcome to my utopia of death. You're dead. Dead on. You can be cooler than that, Chad. Just getting started. Playtime's over. We're done here.
Well, what a journey that was. We came into this game knowing a good chunk of the memes that came out of it, but having now experienced this game for ourselves, there is so much more to it. The action is over the top, and yes, stealth is not a core mechanic of this game, but that's not to say that the Metal Gear DNA isn't there. The plot itself might not be as in-depth and convoluted as Metal Gear Solid 1 or 2, but there is still plenty of depth in the story. The fact that most people remember Armstrong as the politician who yells "nanomachine sons" and kicks Raiden like a ball is almost a tragedy. Same with Monsoon saying the word memes. Just like any other Metal Gear story, we could spend hours gushing over the analysis of what's here. While stealth is not a prioritized gameplay of Revengeance, to say that a Metal Gear game must be a stealth game is almost Flanderization. The fantastic evergreen political story, the over-the-top characters, intricate and detailed world are all synonymous with what makes a Metal Gear game, and Revengeance certainly meets all these points. Revengeance does not have the same level of cinematic shots and overly long cutscenes that Kojima loves to bring into their work, but I'd say that that isn't a bad thing. Platinum Games are not Kojima. Pretending to be Kojima could end up as mediocre at best or cheap and tacky at worst. Instead, they played up to their strengths, and the game is all the better for it. Overall, we enjoyed our time with this game immensely. The gameplay loop was already fun, and having Platinum Games and their high standards for skill pushing us to master the mechanics was a fantastic time. Even if you don't go for the grind, this game comfortably scores an 8 out of 10. While some parts of this grind can end up feeling like you're just replaying the game over and over, and admittedly you are, we'd argue that doing 3 runs of the game going from normal to hard to Revengeance does have a nice progression of skill to it. It'll still be a bloody hard grind though, not quite as scale breaking as Crash 4, but a worthy 9 out of 10. As for the hardest, you might be expecting the Stormbringer run to be our pick, but actually no. With all the tools at your disposal and saving after every S rank, it's only ever a matter of time till you pick it up, nor is it tearing away the human disguise. While it's buggy, you saw that's more to not playing smart over concerns of the achievement not properly popping. No, for us, trying to keep track of over 520 codec calls across 6 story chapters and all the possible times said calls update while adding over 6 hours to the run made Amateur Radio Operator our choice for the hardest achievement. But with that, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much to everyone who has found, followed, and stuck around on this video. Do let us know what you'd like to see us play next, and be sure to check out down below in the description where you can find and follow us for more content and entertainment. Until then, we have been Ultrasonic Blur, you nerds have been a fantastic audience, and we shall see you all next time. There's 10 more